Wrong one. Jumping the gun on baseball right there. Sorry, guys. We will have a baseball show when it's baseball season. But tonight we're going to talk football. It's a Barncast back live. It's Kyle Rush, Taylor Korn, and boy, oh boy, Taylor, there's some action. And this time of the year, it's really unnerving because all you can do right now is lose players.
Yep.
So we're obviously bleeding players at this point in time. I don't think there's anybody that's been a mega shock, but there's going to be some hit to a couple of rooms as far as depth chart goes. And how are you feeling so far? We're up to what, 12 now, 11 players, something like that. You had your list out.
Yeah.
But I haven't counted.
I think it's 11 because I think it was 9 before the 2 that were announced today.
Yeah, so we're
12,
1, 2,
12,
3, 4, 12.
I just tried to count really fast. That might be wrong.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, we're 12. We're 12 down right now. So thoughts so far?
I think I haven't been floored by any of the names that we've seen. I mean, there was a lot of speculation last offseason about what Malcolm was going to do. So that, especially after the Mercer and Alabama games, I mean, half of his production yardage-wise from the entirety of the season, over 270, I think, of his 400-plus yards on the season came in those last 2 games. And that's the production that I think everyone expected to see throughout the entirety of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But until Derek Nix took over, we kind of saw Malcolm being used as more of a gadget guy.
Yeah.
And so that hurts, especially because of how productive he was in the last 2 games of the season. But I wasn't taken aback by really any of the others.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Malcolm, the whole thing about Malcolm, there were talks coming out like in the middle of the season where he was like, I'm gone no matter what. I'm gone. And then it came out, I guess he talked with Justin Hokanson. He said he's gone. In other words, there's no chance he's coming back, and whatever. I get it, I guess, but it seems like a scenario where you can't separate what happened in the past from what could possibly happen in the future. And I know that offense under Hugh really didn't serve him very well.
No.
He's not a 50-50 ball guy. He's a guy that you get in space. Like, he's a NFL type wide receiver, in my opinion. He can kind of run everything, and we really didn't do it with him. And the only opportunities that he really had to do things like that, he made big plays. And that's why I felt like this change to this new offensive system would have maybe benefited him more than anybody, because he would actually get to be a real wide receiver. And I'm just, whatever. I get it. I think we would have been fine with money. I think we would have been comparable anywhere. It just seemed like one of those situations where the bridge was burned and there was no coming back. So that's a shame. There's, all that talk about the Freeze 5, and then it became the Freeze 4. And now 2 of those 4 are gone.
Yeah, and I think something else that could have played a part in this, in my opinion, is we've heard Alex Golesh talk a number of times about how they're not only evaluating who they think fits what they're trying to do, both offensively and defensively, but a part of the conversations that they're having with the guys that are currently on the roster is whether or not they really want to be there. And that's part of the culture shift, which is something that I think everyone wants to see, because it's been a losing culture.
Yeah.
In recent history. So if Malcolm wasn't, like you said, if the bridge had kind of been burned and he almost already had 1 foot out the door, he might have just had his mindset. No matter who got hired, he might have had his mindset that his time in Auburn was done. He was frustrated, and that it didn't matter who they hired. He was out. So I don't know, but that is something that Golesh has talked about both in his introductory press conference and then the Monday press conference he had after signing day. So that's kind of something that I've been keeping in mind because of what has occurred with Malcolm last off season, and then the frustration, which I think it's rightfully so. He was frustrated
Sure.
throughout this season, and he's probably sitting there thinking, I know that I can do more and I'm not being given an opportunity. Like you said, could this offense have benefited him?
Get him in
We'll
space.
never know
I think
now,
that,
it sounds like, but
yeah.
it
It sounded like there was a lot of Indiana talk
mhm.
Towards the end of the season, and then I think obviously Florida was a big threat last offseason. Probably I'm kind of shocked he actually ended up not going to Florida last offseason. Now you got the new coach over there. What are they going to do with quarterback? What are they going to do with everything? It'll be curious to see what ends up happening. I know he says he's gone, and maybe that door is completely closed, but I'm curious. I don't know. I wonder if we'll maybe take a shot at seeing if you can bring him back, because I just think he would be so electric in this Golesh offense. So I think we're feeling good about Cam. I feel a lot better about Bryce Kane staying than I did prior. And Bryce Kane is another one that I think will really benefit in this new offense, because it is all about spreading out, utilizing speed. I wonder if he sees a little bit of a sort of like a rebirth, so to speak, like another opportunity, a fresh start, and maybe he can finally realize his potential, because he was awesome in high school.
Yeah, and that's a name that we didn't hear a lot of, which it's hard when you're, a younger guy and you're playing in a room with Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton, Malcolm, whenever they did utilize him. And you don't get a ton of opportunity. But if that's one of the guys that you've talked about, and it seems like the staff really likes him in their offense, and they think that he can be productive. So if that's a guy that, if they think Malcolm, if they were having their concerns about Malcolm and they're thinking, okay, well, Bryce can also would fit in this offense very well. Maybe that's a guy that they kind of have their eyes set on, and I think could be productive. So I agree with you. I would love to see more of him, and hopefully we will next season, but kind of a question mark for me there, because he was playing in a stacked room. So there wasn't
Yeah.
a ton of opportunity to go around for a lot of those younger guys.
So you got basically the guys you have left. You have Bryce Kane, Cam Coleman so far. Sam Turner, who there was talk maybe he enters, maybe he doesn't. We'll see what happens there. Eric Singleton Jr., which we may talk about him in just a second. Duke Smith and Eric Smith. And I think a lot of people, Eric Smith's going to be a long-term play. Duke Smith's another one that I'm going to be watching. He really struggled catching the ball from the times that I saw him at practice. So
which that's important.
Yeah, that's kind of important to be a wide receiver. So when they're watching practice film and evaluating, does that jump out to this new staff? And they're like, there's a little caution flag there. But I mean, in reality, you have Bryce Kane, Cam Coleman, Sam Turner, Eric Singleton Jr., and Duke Smith that are all guys that I think are SEC type players. And there's no guarantee that you get, there's no guarantee you get more than 2 or 3 of those guys. Eric Singleton Jr. is a really interesting one, because I know the new staff loves him. Obviously, what's not to love? And I know that Ohio State loves him as well. And then he's definitely going to test his NFL stock too, because he's played 3 years. He's draft eligible. How much of an emphasis? I know Cam Coleman gets a lot of the attention and love, and everybody's worried about Cam Coleman, and rightfully so. But it seems like everybody's sort of written off Eric Singleton as a foregone conclusion that he's leaving. And I'm not 100% sure that's the case. Like, how important do you think it could be to convince a guy like that to come back?
Well, I think when he came in last season, when Freeze got him out of the portal, I feel like it was just kind of a foregone conclusion that he was going to be a one-year guy.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the mindset that carried over. But, I mean, I feel like he was I feel like they were all underutilized, to be completely honest. Malcolm specifically, but I feel like all of the receivers, we could have seen more from really all of them. That would be massive. Remember that, like, going back, I guess, a little over a year from now, or a year last year, that, like, he was all in everyone talked about was, this is the best receiver in the portal. Auburn has the best wide receiver room in the country, arguably.
Right.
And these guys are going to be incredible to watch. Sam Turner. Think about how much Sam Turner was the talk of fall camp.
He was. Got a little dinged up, and then you just didn't hear from him anymore.
Right. So I think there is so much potential. I would be interested to see what kind of feedback Eric gets from NFL scouts. And if this coaching staff can convince him that, hey, we will give you an opportunity to put yourself in a better position for the draft next year. Look what we've done in the past with wide receivers. And like you said, there are definitely going to be other schools that are interested in him and probably willing to pay a pretty penny for him. So I'll be interested to see what happens with him. But I mean, that would be massive. And you're right. All everyone's talking about is Cam Coleman, because that's, it's Cam Coleman.
Yeah.
So rightfully so. But I do think that that's kind of getting overlooked, because a lot of people are just assuming that he's gone to the draft.
Right. And I wouldn't necessarily mark that one off. I wouldn't necessarily say that's a 100% done deal as far as him not being here next year. A lot of work to do there, but definitely going to have to get some help in the portal. Because, I mean, like I said, I just mentioned, you basically got 3 or 4 guys looking at probably best case scenario returning next year. So obviously South Florida's got 2 very talented wide receivers that you maybe could go get that I think could easily be SEC players. And then there's going to be tons of other options in the portal as well. So that position group is definitely going to be fun to watch. In the
fun is one way to put it.
Fun's one way to put it. Unnerving, all that good stuff. So I guess the biggest news, I mean, 2 offensive linemen today jump in. You have what was it? It was DeAndre Carter, who was one of the guys that you were super fired up about in that 2024 class, one of the very few offensive linemen. And then Favor Edwin, who, if you remember, it went down to the wire with that kid against Alabama. It was like us in Alabama to get him, and you pull him off. Very good-looking offensive tackle prospect. They both announced their intentions to go into the portal, and it's as scary as the wide receiver room sounds. The offensive line one may be even more scary. Talk about those 2 losses, and then we're going to walk through this offensive line room, because it is with all the guys you've lost, they're going to need to do a ton of work there to get this thing back in shape.
Well, it was also, you had so many upperclassmen and seniors playing. Yeah. So because I was looking through it earlier, and I mean, that was a very veteran position group. Losing players, like, we didn't see Favor Edwin really this season, but like you said, when you look at younger guys, you can oftentimes get a good feel, depending on who's offered them, who's recruiting them, as to what type of prospects they'll be. But the offensive line as a whole, to me, because Xavier Chaplin, we talked about last year, we're not going to go through the same thing that we went through the year prior with kind of what seemed like a missed evaluation, getting an offensive lineman out of the portal. But my biggest question about this is how much of this was coaching.
Yeah, I know.
Because there were the Jackson Arnold got sacked a lot, and was it him holding on to the ball too long? Was it offensive line problems? So many of the questions that I have go back to what would it have looked like if these guys were coached better, which is sad.
And I could go through every position
Yep.
on offense and ask the exact same question.
Right.
It's a scary. This is kind of funny. While we're talking about offensive line, apparently our new offensive line assistant, his name is Parker Ball, tweeted out what seems to be a bat signal.
I saw that.
Did you see that? And
I
everybody's pointing now to say that it's pointing towards Bear McWhorter from Cartersville, Georgia, who everybody thought was going to Alabama, went to Michigan, signed with Michigan on December 3rd, and then something happened at Michigan. I don't really know what it is. Something went down at Michigan, and
not being talked about at all.
Something small. I don't really know. And it seems like those commits may be up for grabs, and there may be some signs that Bear McWhorter may be pointing towards coming to being added into this class. So that would be a big win. Only a 3-star on 247, but obviously he signed with Michigan, and Alabama wanted him, and he has pretty much an offer from every big school in the country. A lot of times I look at offers more than star rankings. But yeah, that's kind of funny. That's going down like right now as we're talking about offensive line. That'd be a good get right off the bat.
Yeah, well, and I think because like you said, until the portal doesn't open until January 2nd. So right now all you're seeing is, I mean, these guys haven't officially entered the portal because they can't yet, but
yeah,
the announcements of the intent to enter the portal, and you're not able to bring anyone in. But in this situation, he got released from his letter of intent, I believe, after that whole situation. So this is, a little bit different.
Well, now, heck, you don't even have to be released. You just go into the portal. You can sign.
So he released himself.
Yeah, you can sign on December. You can sign on signing day, and when the portal opens, you can just go right in the portal. You don't even have to be released from your letter of intent anymore.
Which is crazy because it's like, okay, the commitment, it's like, okay, don't hold your breath on a commitment because you still have to get them to sign. But then it's like, don't hold your breath because when they sign, they can still enter a month later now.
Yeah. So believe it or not, so that would be adding the 5th offensive lineman to this recruiting class, very small recruiting class. Obviously the headliners, Wilson Zaire, the 4-star brother of Killian. Then you had Parker Pritchett, interior offensive lineman. Mikael Lundy Foster that you flipped from South Florida, another interior guy. And then Mason Mathis, another tackle that you flipped, either flipped from South Florida or he was a guy that South Florida was going to close late, and then you ended up getting him in the class. So if that ends up paying off, that's another a big guy you can add to this offensive line room that they're going to have to retool because, like I just said, we're losing DeAndre Carter, who I feel like that one kind of shocks me because I think he had a really good chance to be a big part of that interior offensive line next year. But look, you bring back essentially Connor Lew if he doesn't go into the draft, which I don't think he will. I think he's going to come back. That's going to be huge. Tyler Johnston, is he going to be ready? This will be his 4th season at Auburn. He was part of that. He was part of the same class as Keldrick Falk. Then you have Ty Buster, who they loved in fall camp, and he kind of worked his way up into the left tackle spot. I'm going to save Xavier Chaplin for last. I'm going to save him for last. But you got Cale Ellis, who obviously was very, very young, but got some playing time. Jacoby Ward, he'll be going into his 2nd season. Dylan Cinda, that we always hear good things about, you just never really see him on the field. That's pretty much it. And then the big question mark, I think, of this whole thing is what do you do with Xavier Chaplin? After what you saw last year, what do you do? What do you do? Would you want to roll the dice on him? Could it be coaching versus the player from last season? And there's enough there that makes you say, hey, man, if I can get my hands on that kid, we could change a couple of things, and he's got something. There's something there.
Well, when he entered the portal last season, there were talks of him being, he was a projected first round pick.
Yes, exactly.
And
He was
a
on
lot of
boards.
right. So a lot of the problems that we saw throughout the season at Auburn, he didn't seem to have at previous stops. So
Yeah.
like you said, I feel like you could question the coaching in a number of different position rooms, but I mean, I don't think that they will retain him for what they paid him out of the
Yeah.
portal.
I
So
don't think
that's
he would go. I don't think he could go anywhere
and get
else
paid that.
and get paid that. He's probably going to have to take a pay cut no matter what he does. So I'm not sure that that's necessarily a huge deal, but you're right. He's going to have to take a pay cut for sure.
Right. So I guess it's when this new staff looks at him, do they see, what do they see when they're watching game tape from this past year? Because how many of these guys were put in a position to succeed?
Yeah, doesn't sit not many. I mean, Hugh told everybody he had a hearing problem.
Yeah, which
I don't
I've
know
also
that was
heard
true.
just like isn't yeah.
I don't know that was even a thing.
But again, if it is, then like okay, so you haven't installed a silent count when you're going to play on the road in the SEC.
Exactly.
Like it goes back to preparation. It's like you need to have these guys prepared for whatever might happen. You can't hear, oh, great. We have a solution for that,
Exactly.
But instead it's you can't hear, well, we didn't prepare for the potential of a road environment in the SEC maybe being loud and making that difficult. So we're just gonna have to send you back out there and, just get used to the false starts. But
exactly.
So I don't know. That's one that I'm just interested in. I mean, he was highly sought after. It wasn't
Very
just Auburn that was looking at him, getting him out of the portal. So I mean, maybe I wouldn't be surprised if this new staff looked at him and said, "Look, we see what went wrong. Like you said, obviously he's going to have to take a pay cut, but we see what went wrong last year, and we think that we can help you. We think that we can fix a lot of these problems, and we think that we can." When next season's over, if you were to stay here, you'll be in a lot better position to get drafted where you want to get drafted. But does he have faith? That's the thing. And this new staff.
I think you keep him. I'm going to be completely honest. I think that a lot of it was just miscommunication. A lot of it was just issues of coaching. You saw, I don't think we had in 3 years, did you really have an offensive lineman get better? You know what I mean? And I think that he's an extremely talented kid. I know that there's going to be some people roll their eyes at that and make jokes about false starts and this, that, and the other. And I completely get it. But there's a reason why that guy left Virginia Tech and he was mock top 15 before the season started. Okay. And it's not like he played just nobody. They played good competition, decent competition, and he always seemed like he graded really high. I think if you got him here and you feel like you can mold him into something, then you may have something there. I think the biggest question is going to be, what does Auburn do on the interior? Because you lose both your guards, and then obviously, I guess, right tackle too, if you keep Xavier Chaplin, because you lose essentially your left guard, right guard, and right tackle with Tutal gone. So do any of those guys that we called out, do they fire you up as far as like guys you want to roll with, other than Connor Lew, which would be
no brainer.
A no brainer.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't have a good feel for any of them, because we don't know what was going on. I mean, there are reports coming out that plays are being called that hadn't been practiced since, spring camp. So it's like, yeah, no wonder they look confused. No wonder no one looks like they know what's going on. So it's hard for me, based off of the reports that have come out and the chaos that seemed to be occurring within the offensive staff, player, everyone, the offensive side of the ball as a whole. I feel like it's not really fair to judge any of these guys harshly, because like you said, who got better?
Exactly.
And it's not by the fault of the players. That they all want to get better because they all have goals and aspirations to play professionally. So, that's why they're showing up.
Exactly.
And that's why they're coming to practice to work hard, is to get better. But so I don't know. I don't know what was going on. It was, crime. But I don't know who got better.
Julie Harding has a really good question. And I'm gonna pose it to you.
Okay.
So these guys were leaving.
Yep.
How many of those do you think are all them wanting to leave? And how many do you think it's, maybe we're asking them to leave? We're freeing up some space. Like, if you had to pick, who are some of the ones that you think, maybe we asked to leave, or maybe it was 50-50. Like, is there any in particular that you think we were just like, oh man, we don't want you to leave? Malcolm's probably the only one I can think about. But
yeah,
are there any more that you think probably we're like, dang, we don't want to lose those guys. Didn't want to lose that guy.
Not necessarily. I think something else that is interesting to me is, think about how many, which not necessarily all of the names that have said that they're going to enter the portal right now, but just in general, we talked about the suck tax. How many of these guys were being paid an absurd amount of money, maybe, a decent amount more than they were quote unquote worth on a free market by the free staff, because like, we just have to keep these guys together. And if, overpaying you is how we do that, then that's how we do that. And then this new staff comes in, and if they're saying this is crazy, the production is not equaling what we're seeing, the resources that are being allocated to keeping you here. And I think that the mindset's completely different. So I do think that's something to take into consideration, because if these guys are used to being paid, X amount, and then this new staff comes in and is like, whoa. And another staff might be willing to overpay for them. Like Perry, for example. I mean, I would have loved to keep Perry. I think that he has a ton of potential. But again, it's the same situation. He was kind of buried in depth.
And you want to talk about suck tax?
Yeah.
That was probably one that was going to be a high price tag no matter what. Malcolm, Perry, and maybe I'm looking at the list you have. DeAndre Carter was up there too. So those three, you were probably having to pay more, not necessarily more than they're worth, but you could probably get just as good a value in the portal for what you were paying those guys. I think.
Yes.
And well, go ahead.
And at that point last year, they were probably being paid by Auburn more than anyone that was coming after them was willing to pay, based off what they'd seen from them throughout their, however many years they were playing. Just logistically, because again, we have to keep this roster together.
Bo Adams says, is there any information on Cam or Deuce? I think we feel good with both right now. And that's even with the potential of bringing in another quarterback in the portal, which I would say that's going to happen. Like, they're going to bring in another guy. So does Deuce feel comfortable competing? He may win the job and hanging in there for at least another year before he gets the keys 100%. I don't know, but I think it's trending in a good direction there for both of them. And I still say that Cam just needs a good excuse. You kind of feel the same?
I do. And I think something from day one, from the first day that he stepped on campus and stood in front of a microphone and talked, Alex Golesh is very in touch with what's going on. I think he's very in touch with the mindset of the fan base, which again, you can't take that into consideration when you're making, logistical decisions. But I do think that he just seems very aware of what's going on. He seems very aware of what's important, and based off of things that have come out in the past couple of days, and no one would push back on the fact that Cam Coleman is a priority. Like, they're going to do what they can to keep him.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the pictures leaked of the dinner meeting.
The dinner, yeah. They're not doing that with all, everyone on the roster. So
that was so funny.
It is, which also, like, college football, peak college football.
Can't
Oh, you want to go to
can't
where
beat
like
it.
Columbus and eat dinner? Oh, well, the people sitting next to you are probably about to take a picture, so smile real quick.
That's so
Um,
funny.
but yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of these guys are so close, and that kind of when you look at last season, the fact that this team didn't give up or check out, and I think DJ Durkin kind of reignited the fire within the roster, and they were all they wanted to play for him. Um, but I think they're close. Like I've heard so many things about how close knit of a roster this was, and I think that's part of what kept them all together last year. And I think that starts with good leadership. I mean, look at Keldrick Falk. But I think that they are close, and I think that helps. You see Deuce and those receivers, which obviously Malcolm and Perry were a part of that. They're in a different situation than Cam and Deuce are.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know what to think. Nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me. But Cam loves Auburn. That's what I have asked people about. What do you think is going to happen? And the response that I get is Cam loves Auburn, which, like you said,
Just give
give
him
him
an
a good
excuse.
excuse to stay. And he's beloved on campus.
Yep.
He's going to be taken care of.
100%. 100%. All right. I told you not to worry about this, but I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to go ahead and put you on the spot. Give me like 3 guys, and it can't be Cam, and it can't be Xavier Atkins. So I'm going to take those 2 right off the table. Okay.
Xavier Atkins, I might be like, I don't know that there are many people that are higher on Xavier Atkins than I am. If you like my Twitter feed from the entire season, I don't know that I was posting about anyone as much as I was posting about him. He was just so impressive. The jump that he made from his freshman to sophomore season. Jay Crawford is one that I think is that's probably like unanimous across the board. I feel like he's pretty high on a lot of people's lists. You don't say his name a ton, but when you're talking about the position that he plays, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And then Deuce is one for me. I think that he's going to be a star wherever he goes. And you can say, he looked good against Mercer and so on and so forth. But I've asked around a lot about Deuce because I was curious as to what he looked like in practice on the days that media wasn't there. And when you're talking about bringing in a portal quarterback I was more curious about could he be ready next year? We didn't have a huge sample size. And the Ball State game, I don't even pay attention to that because, again, was he put in a position to succeed? There's no telling. I'm very high on him. And I think that that's one of those guys where if he were to leave, he would be incredibly successful elsewhere. I want Jeremiah Cobb to stay, which I don't know that he's on.
I don't think he's necessarily on a threat to leave list. Yeah.
But he I would love to see him come back. He would be the obvious starter. And he has stuck around through turmoil, putting it nicely, I feel like. And I would love to see him come back and have just a very successful year at Auburn. He's stuck with the school because he stuck with the different coaches through some not so pleasant times. And then he looked good when he was given a shot this year. He looked really good.
He almost ran for 1,000 yards. If there's one thing, I love DJ Durkin, but there's one thing I'm mad about it is that he didn't get him to 1,000 yards against Mercer. Yeah. I was like, come on, man.
He looked banged up at the end of the season, though. So I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, he totally will. We had all of our running backs got hurt. It's crazy. Yeah. It's just everybody got dinged up. Got a super chat from our boy Thomas Jones. Do you think Arnold ends up at a G5 like UAB? Hearing rumors on Oklahoma State, and also did Coach Golesh run a lot of trick plays last year? So we need to look that up. Thomas Jones does not like trick plays. Well, let me say this. I don't know that he hates trick plays, but none of our trick plays worked. I don't think Hugh ran a successful trick play in 3 years. Can you think of one?
One. It was this season, and I can't remember. I think it was from a movie because there was a name. I don't know. I don't watch movies, but it was oh my gosh, what was it called? I believe it was Eric Singleton that they ran it with, and it was wait, this is gonna drive me crazy.
I can't remember.
I can't remember what game it was. Was it from the Little Giants, maybe?
Oh yeah, we ran the hide the guy, the annexation
Yeah,
of Puerto Rico.
yes. Or I don't know if that's what it's called, but do you know what I'm talking about? And that
Yeah,
one
yeah,
worked.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Where they hit him behind
Yes.
the lineman, and that was the only one. We ran double passes in terrible situations,
Yeah.
and man, it was. You're right. So Thomas Jones, I don't know if he runs a lot of trick plays, but my God, we got if we do run one, we need to hit a streak. Gus Malzahn had like he could dial up some trick plays, and they just seemed to work then, but. Hugh, buddy, he struggled.
Yeah.
He struggled big time. So your three were as far as Peyton Thorne, same thing, I guess. As far as Jackson Arnold, I have no idea. I have no idea where he goes. Oklahoma State may be a good spot, but I think Oklahoma State just hired North Texas's quarterback. North Texas coach. So it wouldn't shock me if his freshman quarterback from North Texas follows him over there. That dude lit it up, so that would not shock me whatsoever. So your three were Jay Crawford, understandable, Deuce, and then Jeremiah Cobb. I like that.
Robert
Jay
Woodyard
Crawford, what's that?
is another one. Robert Woodyard. Doesn't he have another year?
He does, and he had a really good year last year. I want the whole linebacker room back.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose a single linebacker. I want Diaz. I want Melendez.
Elijah Melendez, yes.
I want Xavier. Obviously, he's coming back. He's basically said he's coming back. You can't run him
Twice.
to Auburn. Yeah, and then Robert Woodyard. If Robert Woodyard has another year, he's signed with Harsin. He's on the Jeremiah Wright plan.
I think he has another year.
He might. Look that up. I want that whole linebacker room. Jay Crawford and Amaris Williams are two that I have on my worry list. I think that those two I would definitely watch. Amaris, he went into the portal last year and then came out of it. I think he may be looking at UNC, and then everybody's coming to Jay. Every single team out there, crazy money. I think we're competitive, but there's some that are just, it's like the value I don't know that the value's there. You know what I mean? Like it's just so crazy. But I definitely don't want to lose those guys. I completely agree with this. When you're talking about all SEC freshmen, I don't know what other freshman linebackers were out there, but I guarantee you, I can't guarantee you because I don't know their stats, but he was incredibly impressive. 2 interceptions, one of them one-handed, made all kinds of plays. That dude, you just knew he was going to be a beast. Like you
loved him from the day he committed.
The day he committed, I wanted him really, really bad. This is a good point. Chris Akel says, "Watch out for Mississippi State and Jackson. If they were in the sweepstakes before, and that was Jeff Lebby. We talked about Jeff Lebby. That's his guy from Oklahoma, the guy he signed with. So that could be a very, very real spot for him to land. All right, so my 3 guys that I don't want to lose: Jared Smith. I think I don't think he's necessarily in danger of leaving, but he would be somebody that I think it could be a difference maker. Have like a huge breakout sophomore year. He's incredible. Definitely don't want to lose him. I really like. I already mentioned. I'm going to count the linebacker room as a whole for me. I want to say I want the whole linebacker room. If that's cheating, then
that's not.
Sue me.
Robert Woodyard has a year. He was a junior this year. So.
And then I'm going to cheat again. And I want to say I want my safeties. I want my freshman safeties back. Give me Eric Winters and give me New Boy. I want both of those guys back. And then you can have everybody else. Just give me those, and I'm ready to roll.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, obviously.
I mean, no, I mean, there were so many when I was looking through the roster, like the defense, there were just so many defensive players that
can't lose them in. Bring every one of them back.
Yeah. Especially those linebackers. I mean, and those are the guys that are getting better. Those are the guys that you are seeing progress.
Every single game.
Yeah. Like, especially like Eric Winters, New Boy, those like Elijah Melendez, those freshmen. I mean, they were making plays in SEC games. It wasn't Mercer. Well, those games as well, but they were competing. They were very competitive in big games for Auburn this year. So with another year of development under a defensive coordinator that everyone's really high on, I like where they sit.
For sure. I'm just looking real quick. This 2024 class, we had 21 commits, and let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 guys out of the 21 are gone, and that's just up until now. So,
and the portal hasn't even opened.
Portal hasn't even opened yet. Shout out to Thomas Jones again for joining. Member for 15 months. Let's go. Since Hugh is gone, any word on Damari Alston making a comeback since he was very popular in the locker room? Haven't heard. I don't think he's coming back.
I don't either.
And I like Damari as a person. I think there's better options. Just my opinion. So, am I way out of line there?
No, I don't think so. And I think that Jeremiah Cobb stepped up, once that happened.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was well prepared. He stepped into that role and looked good. So I'm in the same boat. I like Damari. I think that Thomas is correct in saying that he was very well liked in the locker room. But after what happened, I don't see him. He's probably, in the words of Malcolm Simmons, done.
Done or gone. Somebody did he say done or gone?
I don't know. One of the two.
Somebody was correcting me in the comments. So I see somebody asking about Omar. I don't think there's any risk that Omar's going anywhere.
Yeah, Auburn kid. He probably.
I still think he has a chance to be really, really good. I know he took one off the face against Alabama that turned into an interception, but I think he'll be good. It looks like Bear McWhorter just got his first prediction to Auburn from Jeffrey Lee at On3. So there you go. Auburn, new staff, maybe flipping a big commit or flipping someone, taking advantage of a situation at Michigan, which I gotta research that more. I don't really know what's going on there. It's this insignificant story, I guess.
Well, it's also very interesting because there were, I guess, like you said, you could probably just wait until the portal opens, but with a player like Bryce Underwood, it's like, what does that contract look like? Because this situation probably wasn't written into it. So
I don't think so either.
I don't know what's going on there, but
what clause would that fall under? I wonder.
None of them. So I don't know, but that's the timing of that is great because of what happened today.
Yeah, I'd love to pick off a few more. So,
yeah, well,
maybe even some of their actual players, like instead of just high school recruits, maybe some players too. They don't have a coach yet, right?
Nope. Kalen DeBoer put out a statement today, though, basically saying,
"Guys, stop asking."
Yeah,
I'm not going.
Penn State, that book is closed. Then Michigan opens, and it's we're back to square one. But no.
Yep. Well, Taylor, anything else you want to add? Anything else about portal season? I'm ready for the portal to open.
Yeah, I think right now it's just like you said. I mean,
it's gonna be
all exits. It's a lot of people
20 days
planning on walking out, and you can't bring anyone in yet. So this is kind of, I mean, I don't feel like the sky is falling, but I feel like when you're looking at it, it's like, okay, there's no positive.
We're bleeding and there's nothing we can do to stop it at this point in time. Yeah,
exactly. And it's not like there are announcements being made at this point in time of like, hey, I'm returning, I'm coming back. So it's just kind of like you're sitting on the edge of your seat waiting for the next announcement, who's gone next. But agreed. I like the two young guys a lot.
3-4-2-5. Me too, man. We got to keep our freshman stud safeties for sure.
Yeah.
But guys, go ahead. Sorry.
I would say be patient. I like the staff a lot. I think they're putting together a good staff. So, I mean, I think it'll be interesting, but I think that they know what they want, which should be encouraging.
Hunter, can we get Lee? Can you let him come? Would you let him come from Jack State? He's pretty good.
Cam Cook, I think he might be out of eligibility.
Cam Cook, my bad. Cam Cook, yeah, he's a stud.
Or I don't know who Hunter's talking about, but Cam Cook.
He was talking to Lee Band. Who is Cam Cook?
The Jack State running back. He was the nation's leading rusher. I don't know why he wasn't in Heisman conversation. He was the nation's leading rusher for a hot second. I don't know if he finished the season.
There's a Minnesota running back to watch. Hold on, let me look it up. What's his name?
Yeah, Cam Cook finished the season with 1,600 yards.
There's a freshman, Minnesota's freshman running back. I cannot pronounce his last name. And his first name looks like Fame, F-A-M-E. That might be one to watch. I think this staff wants a bigger back to add to that room. Might want to watch that one. So.
Yeah, nation's leading rusher ahead of Ahmad Hardy, Cam Cook. I think he might be out of eligibility, but
he's like he and Cobb are like the same size.
Yeah, he's 5'11", 195. Oh wait, no, he has another year. I don't know. He might be saying it. He hasn't obviously entered the portal. They're playing the bowl game, but I like him a lot. He's fun to watch.
He can make bank.
Yep.
In the portal. Not saying leave Jack State. Hey, I love Jack State, so stay there and go wild. But he can make a pile of money in the portal. Guys, thank y'all so much for joining. Sorry about last week. We're not going to miss any more though. So we'll appreciate you for joining us, and we'll be back again soon. War Eagle.